Let me share screen real quick. Some of the labs we're going to use software. Some of the labs we're going to use software and hardware, right? Like in our labs that we're going to use wireless router. Next week, we're going to make cables, so hardware, right? So you're going to come and you're going to make, we'll see how well we do with both cables. So, but this lab, I want you to have the engineering hat on, right? You wanted to be able to start thinking about like, how would I design a network? And doing that, we're gonna have to start learning how to draw an existing network, like what you have at home. And you can think about how you can improve your home network. So a couple of tools that you're gonna use. If you miss it, if you use these tools, use your school email account. That gives you education access. So you can, bless you, you can click on the link. And then you would need to sign up, right? And if you already did that, you need to sign in. Don't use the Microsoft option because it's going to. Yeah, and if you don't have multi-factor, so there's complication. My Monday class, they recommend, they're like, Dr. Would just tell them to like sign up, fill out the form with your RCCD email. And then it's gonna send you a verification email. You just have to click it to verify and you should be good. Okay. But there are options where you would use Google or Slack or whatever that you need. Now you can click make a free network diagram. And a lot of the times it's gonna bring you to this page, right? But what we can do is we can just, once we sign up, and you can do try for free. So if you see this page like I do when you log in, you can just say try for free. Now, the free account is going to give you like 3 documents. So you can make like 3 drawings with it. If you want to stay in the free scope, then you just need to delete one if you want to make another one. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay, right? So I'm going to click try for free. And I think I might have exceeded my, let me see. Oh, I'll just go to my documents. So I can't make any more basically because I use it to demo my class. But anyways, so once you click try for free, it will probably take you to an interface like this, right? And on the lower left, you're going to see that there's going to be a template or templates menu. We want to start with the template because it already has like the setup library for your shapes, or whatever that you need, right? Now, if you're not able to locate a specific template, you should use, right, a networks or the search option. You can search for network up here, right? Like what I did on Monday. I told the student you can search for network and it's going to give you some of the templates that you can use. Okay, so first I'm going to click templates. And on the template option, it might give you like different kind of templates. So if you're learning programming, you might need to do a flow chart, right, for your program. Or if you take like project management or something, they usually go with flow charts. So now if you don't see the Cisco, because I used it recently, on the template option, you can search for network, right? And it's going to give you the networking templates that it has. Okay. Again, I click templates and then I search for network. Now, I'm going to click the network diagram example. On Monday, I clicked the Cisco one, but sometimes that can be difficult for student. So for today, I'm going to use this template. Okay. I'm going to use the simple network diagram. So your first task for your assignment is to make a home network, right? So envision your home network now. And if you want to take it home and you can verify what's connecting, you can add and subtract. You don't have to turn it in today. You can turn it in at the end of the week, right? So you're gonna use a template and you're gonna make your home network. So if you have like smart TV connecting to it, you can add it. If you can't find the shape, you can also use another shape to resemble it. So this is a template I use, and it's best because at home you might connect your phone, you might have a printer, you might have a laptop, etc. So it might have the shape. Now, if your home network doesn't have a firewall, how do I get rid of it? I just click the shape, right? And I can press the backspace on my keyboard and it would delete it. Okay. This line just shows the connection, and you can extend the lines. You see how when you click on it, it has these square toggle, and you can just pull it, you can stretch it, right? To connect your wireless router to the internet. That is mostly home network, right? You can also change the line, and if you select the line by clicking it, you can go to the top option and you can choose your style of line. So I got a couple emails the other night from my Monday class, and they're like, "Oh, I connect all my stuff wirelessly except for my router to my internet service provider. Do I have to draw a line?" Well, on your diagram, if you want to represent a physical topology, you should draw a line, right? So I was like, well, you don't have to draw a line if you want to represent the physical connection. So the wireless connection, we can use a dash line. And all you have to do is click on that line, right? Like here, if I choose this line right here, right, I can go to the line style at the top right here in the middle, and I can choose. It doesn't matter if I choose one dashes line to another, right? Well, you want it to be uniform, it doesn't matter, right? You can also color your line. I taught bachelor and master level classes, and one of the bachelor classes, they have to design like a whole corporate network and be able to implement security solution to it. So that means that they have to draw all the topology for all the rooms, all the offices, everything together. And I always tell them it's always good to think about color coding, because it is a lot visibly appealing, and it's easier for engineers to look at it and say, oh, this is segment blue, which represent like maybe Los Angeles or whatever. So you can also be colorful with your topology. That's an option, right? Okay, so now some of you might have a modem and a wireless router separately, which is what I have. And then some of you have it all in one. So if you want to represent access points separately than your router, that's fine. But ideally, sometime we're going to have all in one. One thing that I want to address is the labeling. Okay. Now on this template, it's just going to be generic, right? In the real world, you are going to have to label your system by IP address or system name, okay? In a logical topology, we normally do that so that when we see which system is which. So let's say that this server, right? I might not have a server at home, but if this server has an IP address in the text box right here, you need to put its IP, okay? So for example, I'm gonna go ahead and label my smartphone down here, right? And you can remove, like what I said, right? You can delete the object and then connecting the lines to represent the physical connection. Okay, so for your smartphone, you can use a text box option by clicking it, right? And then you can draw a text box, and then you can add your text into it. Now, if you want your smartphone to be relabeled, you just click where it says smartphone and then delete the text and type it. So how do I know what IP address is used? You can go to your wireless router and find it. I don't expect you to put all IP addresses. If you have system name, that's fine, right? By the end of the class, I should expect you to have all the IP addresses and where to find it. So how do I find an IP address, right? What I can do is if it's PC, you're going to be able to go CMD on your system, right? Like this. And it opens up command prompt. You might have seen this before. And then you go IP config. Okay. Now, if you're using Linux or Mac, you open up the terminal. I think Mac uses also IP address, but it uses UID. You can also look into system settings and it tells you, right, on your devices. A lot of the times it will tell you like how it's connected. So on my system right now, right, like my laptop, because I'm connecting to the wireless network of the school, it shows me the domain I'm connecting to, and the IP address is shown here. What command did I use? I use ipconfig for Windows, right? In Linux environment, if you have a Linux system, you just use IP space address. But if you can't find your IP address, just give it a label, like a name of your system. Now, how do I know a computer name? Who knows how to find computer name? In Windows, there's many ways, right? You can go into settings and then about the systems, or you can say host name. And you can try this on your computer right now, right? If you type host name for Windows command prompt, it's going to tell you the computer name, right? Again, IP config and then host name. Okay. Now, on host name is also used on Linux, Apple systems. I don't really use Apple too much for configuration. My husband does, but I'm more of a Windows Android person. So, but yeah. So what you can do is you can use command to be able to find it. But on Windows systems, right, you can also go into settings and be able to go to your system, and then you can go to about system. But in Windows system now, you can search for anything. So in your Windows search bar, you can search for certain term and it should be able to give you that. All right, so task A, exercise lab 1A is to draw your home network, right? You can delete the router if you want, or you can relabel that as a wireless router and then, connect everything over. So I can delete the server, right? I will likely need to delete a switch. And then if I have less or more PC, I can add or subtract, right? And then if you have a physical phone, right, you can also add a phone. Most people don't have landline anymore, but if you have a landline, you can leave it like that. So you can add the label by double clicking the text and then type in your device's name. Okay. So now when you're done, right, with all your drawing, connecting and setting everything up, if you can't save this as a JPEG, you can just screenshot it, right? Zoom it out. And then you can screenshot. And the easiest way for me, I feel, is if I use Snip on Windows, and then I just click new and then drag. And that's going to it's going to copy, it's going to put this on a clipboard, right? You can save it as an image file or a PNG, or you can just paste this onto your lab document. So once you snip, it already copied it, and then you just right click. So I can just click the copy option right here and then go into my Word document, right? For exercise, I will just go ahead and add the screenshot here, right? Paste. So again, I created my picture, how I like it. I opened up Snip, and you can do screenshot if you want, right? I know screenshot in Windows is more complex now, but and then drag the picture I want, and then I click copy, or sometimes it's already copied for me, and then I go to my lab document, go to the end of the exercise before the question, and then I just right click and paste or Control V. Okay, so if you press Control V, it just pastes it. Make sure we answer these questions. I want to know more because ultimately, when you draw your network, you have to know your network, right? Like what's in your network. So how do I know the wireless router? You can look at the router, it will tell you the type, like the brand and the model number. If you're not sure, you can access the wireless router by using its IP address, or the app. I don't, if you do your best in this area. And then how many devices? So make sure we go through and answer these questions. And then the operating systems, if you're not, if you're uncertain, like if it's an Android, it's an Android, you don't have to put the exact model. Now in security, this is when we footprinting devices on a certain segment of the network, we want OS, we want the type of devices because what kind of devices you use can also have vulnerabilities. So from a network perspective, right, this is just inventory of your network. Understand? All right. So that's part A. Part B. I give you a list of what to draw. Okay. You have a router for a business. You have 2 switches. They are unmanaged switch. You have 5 workstations, and then 2 laptops, 2 mobile devices, 2 printers, a copier, 3 phones, and a server. So after you're done with the first part of the lab, go back to your drawing. You can modify it, right? If you want to save it, you can create another drawing from the template. So if I want to modify, and if I want to add shapes, right? In the shapes here, you can search for shapes, like you can search for a switch. If you can't find it, you can search for a copier. And if it doesn't have the shape, just, label it. So there are monitors and things like that. So if I wanted to add a device, I simply, so for example, if I want to add let me see if something relevant, a server, right? I can just drag it onto my Canvas workspace, right? And then I would toggle, or I can draw a line. And let's say I connect this device to that. I just connect it to the square dot on that server. Okay. Now, when you look at exercise B, when you add all of these devices and all the cable, all the lines together, it should be that I'm going to put a note right here for you. You should add the workstation, connect workstations to the switch. Okay. Because remember, you have 2 switches. So I wanted to see how good of an engineer you are now thinking about networking, right? I know that you have first day experience. So some engineer, they would be like, oh, the workstation would be only on one switch, that one segment, right? What if it's 5, it's just for that office. And then I would use another switch for things like wireless. So that way it's separated, right? The good thing about that is you can control it. So we can say switch A, right? And then you can also add the phones to it. So phone, right? Because it might be for the offices, for the people who sits in there. And then maybe printers. And maybe copier. Okay. Is that okay? So you might have like 2 offices, and you can separate all 5 workstations, like 3 here, 2 there, or all, however, there's no restriction in this in how many people in each office, etc. But in reality, you're gonna have to determine like how many workers is in each office, right? Okay. And then we would need to put a server to a switch. So If you have, let's say, all the workstations and all the printers and all the copier on one switch, that's okay, right? You also need to connect the server to a switch. Whether you add it to switch A or B, that's up to you, okay? But think about security now. If you lump the server with the systems, right? Is that a good thing, right? So physically, someone can disconnect the server, etc. So, but you can do this and logically control it. So you can add it to switch A or switch B. So add two switches to your canvas, right? Add your systems and then draw the line connecting to it. One of the things that were asked is, okay, so that's good. Okay, so make sure now if you use this other tool, you don't have to use that tool. You can use a second tool. It already have some of the shapes for you as well. So we can also open up the second tool. And you can draw them both using the first tool. You can draw one with one and one with the other. I just want to present you with options. And this one you might have to also sign up. So if you click make a network diagram like the instruction after you click the website, you would have a blank canvas, right? What you can do is you can start throwing things onto your canvas. And if you can't find the shapes that you need, you can also search. You can click shapes and you can try to find it. But here it has some of the standard shape for you, right? Like, let's say if I want a workstation, I can add it there. And then if I need to make a label, I just click the T for text box and then drag it. Sorry. Right? And then you can move it over or type. I think it should, if you double click, it also allows you to make a text. So if you can say workstation 1, you know, give it a generic name, etc. Okay, so, and then we will have to add a switch to it. So you can put your cursor on top of an appliance and see if it's a switch. So if I want to add a switch, I just click it or drag it onto my workspace and then label it. Okay. And if you don't have an IP address, give it an arbitrary IP address like 10.0, you know, or 192.1. If you don't know how to use IP address yet, just give it a name. Okay. All right. Now, how do I connect these? On this particular, the second tool, the line that you use is going to be an arrow, right? So if you click it, there are 3 options. There's the arrow, there's a double line, and there's a hollow, like a non-shaded arrow. Now, technically, we can use this to represent 3 different ways of connection. I'm not particular in your case because you just start doing this. So if you, for most part, you can use the arrow to connect, or if you want to use a double line, that's okay. Usually that represents half duplex, full duplex, etc. But you know, we don't worry too much about the distinguish between the arrows. Okay. Okay. So that's make sure that we now, if you want to add like wireless or mobile devices, remember what I said, right? You got to make sure that you have an access point or a wireless router. So if you want to scale out to be able to add, like, because the question here says, if the business wishes to expand the network and accommodate 20 more workstations, what type of network appliance do you need in your existing design? So after you draw, you're like, okay, if they hire 20 more people, right? Definitely likely that you're gonna need to add another switch, right? Or if your existing switch have enough ports, then you can't accommodate those 20. Okay. And then if they are going to add a wireless network, like for the C, what do you need to do? Well, you need to add an access point to a switch, either A or B, right? That you have, or C. And be able to have wireless combination. Okay, so from there, you kind of see how to kind of really design from a smaller network to a. And this is the job of a network engineer. Okay?
Sure.
All right. So make sure that we submit it by Sunday. And that's all she wrote for today. And I'm exactly on time. How is that?